today with another success story. I'm Tracy with MeatRx. I'm a coach, and I'm here with my dear friend Heather. Hi, Heather.
Hi, Tracy.
Thank you so much for coming. And I would like to start to hear your success story by asking, what was your life like before you came to a meat-based diet? What was your diet like? What were your health conditions like?
Sure. Well, thanks for inviting me on. I think we all hope that these success stories would reach far and wide, and hopefully many more people will reap the benefits of animal-based nutrition. So if I can play one small part, that would be a privilege. So thank you. I know for me, it's been immensely helpful. I have been carnivore for about 3 months, and the changes are significant enough for me to really decide to kind of stick this out long term. Not to say that I won't modify it at some point, but right now it works and I feel great. I can jump in a little bit more into my journey of how I arrived here, if that's, you want to touch on that first?
That'd be fun, yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, when I talk to people in the carnivore community, you hear many times about people becoming metabolically broken and that resulting in kind of a decline in their health. That's certainly true for me. I would say that that started in my early adolescence, around 12 to 13. And we had my whole living situation had to be changed due to a traumatic event that happened in my life, in our family. And as a kid, you just kind of eat what's in the cupboards. And for me, in this new living situation, it was cereals and Pop-Tarts and Hamburger Helper and Pringles and Diet Pepsi. So I ended up gaining a lot of weight. And I think part of that too is just finding the comfort in the times of struggle with food and all of that. So I gained a lot of weight. I was about 170 at my highest. That was like 15 years old. And to put that in perspective, I'm in the 130 range right now. So 40 extra pounds. It was really uncomfortable. And additionally to the weight, it was the mental part, just not being able to study well and retain information and feeling very foggy, even just trying to read a book. It was in depression, like I could have symptoms of depression. And my dad would be like, oh, just go out for a walk. I grew up in a farming community, so you just get outside and the outdoors fixes everything. And it did help a little bit. And I tried to focus on improving my health. I joined track and field, and at one point my coach was like, let's just stick with shot put. So there wasn't much change there, and it was a struggle. But fast forward to when I was about 23 years old, I finally was diagnosed with hypothyroidism as a result of Hashimoto's. And at the time, there wasn't really any conversations around how to handle your autoimmune issue with nutrition. It was just kind of take this pill and that's fine, and I did. And I took the pill. I felt better. I lost some weight, got some mental clarity. My hair was actually really getting thin and started growing back, which was great. And I didn't really think anything of it, but now later down the road, I've come to learn that when you have an underlying autoimmune condition, it's not uncommon for more autoimmune conditions to happen and occur, 5-10 years down the road. And that, I think, was starting to happen with me. I got married. I was pregnant with my first, and just doing like the standard American diet. And then when I was postpartum, that I saw a major shift. And first was the postpartum depression. Like that was really challenging for me. As a new mom, of course, there's a lot of, it's like a huge metamorphosis. But I just kind of felt like at one point just lost, didn't even recognize myself or feel in touch with the reality around me. But I didn't really want to go down the road of seeking help from a physician and starting a prescription. I lost my mom to prescription medication, and I think I have this underlying bias that I don't want to go that route if I don't have to. And so I was like, maybe there's a nutritional supplement that I can take to feel better and get energy back. And I started to take a vitamin B supplement, and that really helped me. And it should have been an eye-opener for me that maybe there's some kind of malabsorption issue with vitamin B, perhaps, or maybe it's a nutritional deficiency from what I'm eating or not eating. But, I just was like, I feel better, I'm good. But then it was 6 to 9 months postpartum when I had a major autoimmune flare-up. I just woke up one morning and I couldn't move my hands. Okay, we were in a fist, and it was a struggle to open my hands. And then the pain would just radiate up my arms, and it felt like bone deep. It got to a point where I couldn't hold my daughter. I have no idea, even to this day, what it was. I went to the doctor, and they tested me for rheumatoid arthritis, and it was negative. So I don't know. They just said, hey, give it some more time. If you have more issues, come back in. There was really no additional follow-up. I'd wake up and just tears streamed down my face from the pain. It was unlike anything. I mean, even at my heaviest of 170, I never had that kind of pain. But somehow, some way, the pain subsided. I don't know what happened, what changed. And I didn't really think anything of it. But the second time around with my son, it happened all over again, except it expressed itself differently. With my son, I made sure that I was like, I'm going to be super clean eating with my diet. And I was eating, green smoothies every day, chock full of spinach. And then I go to my appointment and they say, your iron is really low. And if you don't get your iron up, then we're going to have to do an IV infusion. I found that so strange that I'm eating all of this iron-rich spinach, and my iron is dangerously low. The recommendation was to start a supplement, but thankfully my husband just took me to Outback. So I ate a big steak, and I was like, gosh, this tastes pretty good. Let me try just eating more meat, and so it was like I made it my job to eat a bunch of meat, and my iron went back to normal range, so I didn't have to have an infusion. So fast forward a little bit, and I have my son, and I worked out my entire pregnancy. I was back in the gym 4 weeks postpartum, and just working out felt really great. And then again, what happened 6 to 9 months postpartum, woke up and felt like a train hit me. I have no idea. People I talked to are like, oh, just stretch some more and maybe just take a bath. But something just wasn't adding up. Like I was so healthy. So I thought, and sorry, my kiddos, I don't know if you can hear them. They're out there playing, but so 6 to 9 months, I wake up, I feel like I have, intense pain, like I just got hit by a truck. And this time it was in my knees, my hips, my legs, my feet, my lower back. It was like, I was in the gym, twice a week, and all of a sudden I just have all of this pain. And I started developing plantar fasciitis, symptoms of that. It's never been formally diagnosed, but the plantar fasciitis was very evident, and I used to help people with that, so I knew what the symptoms were. I got to a point where I could do, like I went for a walk, and it make my feet feel worse. And so I was like, there's got to be something that's going on here. And I realized that the autoimmune situation, when you're pregnant, usually your immune system like suppresses so that you don't have a premature labor, right? And a lot of people it's not everyone, but from what I've learned is that many people with autoimmune issues can have a flare-up postpartum because their immune system changes again. So it was just this little click that maybe there's something going on autoimmune-wise. I kind of came to this place of desperation, like crying out to God, like, show me what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's wrong with me. I didn't want to go back to the doctor again because I knew that what they would say is like, you're fine. And so I started like looking into autoimmune issues more, and learned that with hypothyroid, many people also have celiac disease, and it goes undiagnosed. And I do have the gene for celiac. Like 40% of Americans do, but not everybody has it. So, but it just made me speculate that maybe I have an issue with gluten sensitivity. So that was kind of the start. was understanding that maybe there's some kind of autoimmune issue that's being triggered based on my nutrition. Now I was starting to realize that maybe there might be a connection between autoimmune issues and nutrition. And so, I was thinking if I have the gene for celiac and I am hypothyroid, with celiac disease, you also have a higher risk for rheumatoid arthritis down the road. So starting to kind of connect the dots. I never really formally had any of that diagnosed, but I thought if I'm gluten sensitive, why not just experiment with taking gluten and grain out of my diet? So I tried that for 10 days, and it was like 90% pain gone after that. And it was just shocking to me that just one small change had a dramatic effect so quickly. So I went, head over heels, like for this whole nutrition journey. I had this insatiable desire to learn more. And so I then stumbled upon keto, tried keto for a little bit. And that was for me an on-ramp for carnivore. Keto was good. It was a good way of like priming my body to be more like fat adapted. And, but there was just like an Achilles heel with keto for me. And that was, I just didn't feel like I had enough protein, and the whole fat bomb and way of making sugary things healthier just it just became problematic for me. It was like, kind of made me not have enough energy. And, it just wasn't like the best fit for me. And then, I think I heard ShawnBaker was on the Primal podcast, because I was like on this whole keto kick. So I was listening to that podcast a lot. And I heard ShawnBaker talk about, the carnivore diet. And I'll be honest, like the first thought about carnivore was like, these people are bananas. Like, this is so unbalanced. How could this be healthy? Like, people are going to get sick. And like, I had all of this wired information, preconceived ideas about it. And I don't know why, I don't know how, but I was like, maybe I just need more protein. And so I started kind of weaning away from the keto and adding in the more protein and cutting back all the other stuff, and just saw my energy improve. So, kind of make this, drive the point home, like all of the benefits that I've seen so far, compared to where I was before. I lost 8 pounds. I have no more pain in my feet. I can work out harder than I ever have. I have zero pain in my body. I have no more bloating, no more digestive issues. That was the other part of hypothyroidism that's not too popular to talk about, is like, oh, you're just gross. Your digestion feels gross. My skin is great. I don't have any kind of depression. I dropped all of my supplements. I was taking vitamin D, selenium, magnesium, vitamin B complex, omega-3s. I would take iron every now and then. I just don't have it. I don't have to take any supplements at all. So that saves you a little bit of money. I have a lot more energy. I remember just having like that first bite of my ribeye and just been like, this is like heaven right now. The zero carb zen is so real. Stress management, the mental clarity, the energy. It's been life-changing. And I don't think I'll ever go back. I might make some modifications possibly, but right now I don't really see a need for that. It's been a really great journey, and I'm thankful.
Yeah. That sounds wonderful, Heather. So what does a typical day of eating look like for you? Do you do intermittent fasting, or do you have 1 or 2 meals a day? Or
I find myself I don't ever try to fast. One of the benefits is you're not a slave to food anymore. Like when you're getting ready for your wedding and you want to slim down and look great, like I kind of like did all this crash dieting, and you become a slave to food. I think I was down to like 800 to 1,000 calories a day, and it worked, but I was miserable, and I thought about food all the time, and it was just like, it's just exhausting. Now you fall into this rhythm of being really, I don't even try. It just happens, where you just become really sensitive to your hunger cues and what you're hungry for. And even with like the fat to protein ratio, like some people do better with a little bit of a higher fat to protein ratio. I don't even really like think about that. It just is like, if I want to eat more fat, like I just pay attention to that. You know, if I just want a fattier piece of meat. Now there's other days where it's like, you know, the idea of eating like a fatty piece of meat just doesn't really appeal to me that much. So you just get really like in tune with what you're hungry for, and you just pay attention to that. And so like, I'll just go 20 hours without eating and not think anything of it. And, you know, and so then I don't know, it's just so easy. It's hard to explain that to somebody unless they've tried it themselves. It just happens so naturally and easily.
Yes, I agree. So, do you include anything like cheese or fish?
I've done a little bit of dairy. You know, I with the keto, I was heavy dairy and heavy eggs, and you know, it didn't really bother me like to the point of like having like intolerance to that. I just didn't really feel my best having a lot of dairy. I don't like milk. I've never really liked milk, but like cheese. I'm a Wisconsinite, so we've got like a cheese drawer. I mean, we're like big on cheese, love it. But I don't eat a ton. It's kind of like a dessert for me. So if I want to finish off a meal with like a slice of cheese, then I'll do that. Like, especially when I'm making meals for other people that I might have like a craving for something that I'm making. I don't really ever have cravings unless it's like right in front of me. And then it's like, that looks like it might taste good. Then I remember, you know, feeling healthy is way better than what that's going to taste like. So I just don't do it. But if I want to just like kind of curb that a little bit of cheese, just kind of, that does the trick for me.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, but back to your point, I don't, or your question, I don't do a ton of dairy just as I can feel like my energy levels, like I don't feel as energized after eating a lot of dairy. And, you know, I just eat eggs in moderation. Mostly I just stick with beef. I mean, beef does the trick. It makes me feel good and it's easy to make.
I thank you for being on our show and telling your story. I know it will help many people. And I've really had a wonderful time getting to know you, Heather, and I appreciate your time.
Thanks for inviting me, and thank you for your time, and looking forward to chatting with you more down the road.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.